Well, good morning, everybody. Hello. Hey, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room. This is a Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central, virtual stitching retreat where you hang out with me in here. Follow me on my sewing journey, and I hope I can inspire you to put something under the needle. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Hello, hello. Well, hi, Vicki from Cleveland. Thank you, sweetheart. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so yesterday, now that's why I had that over here. I was like, why is this here on my table? Dottie, I know you're right in front of me and nobody can see you when you're right in front of me. All right, let's do the dogs and then we will get to business today. Okay. All righty, so I'm going to point this downwards here and we're going to see if my dog, I think I'll have to stand like right here because she wants to be directly in front of me so she doesn't get left out. There she is. And see, Precious. Where's Frito? Where's Frito? Frito's behind me here. She'll show up when my hand goes down with treats for sure, right? Here's for Miss Dottie. Yeah, you're going to be very polite. Frito, we can't see you. You're shy? You're being shy? There she is, y'all. There we go. That's better. There we go. Yes, girls. This is Dottie. She's 5 months old. She's a cowboy corgi, half heeler. And this is Frito. She's a Queensland stumpy tail cattle dog. And just the love of, they're just the best dogs ever. You guys ready to go brush your teeth? They have these rawhide, tri-wrapped, chicken beef wrapped chew sticks. We cut these in half for Dottie. Okay, you guys ready? We're going to go out. All right. So I have to put them out of the room so we can get down to business without any drama. Okay, let's go. You ready to go out? Let's go. Come on. Good girls. Come on, Frito. Here. Oh, that's for you and that's for you. Bye-bye. Go chew that. Okay. Yay, the kids are outside. Y'all, when I'm trying to set my cameras up, I have to lock the baby gate and keep Dottie out of here. Because she's got to be right in front of me, right? In case I drop a treat. She's got to be right in front of me. So, oh, good. Mo brought breakfast tacos. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. We've got a new taco joint here in town. And I went by there yesterday to try them. Their breakfast tacos, I make better ones. But that's because of those HEB tortillas. All right. Yeah, so yesterday I had to go pick up the disc for my MRI that I had last week. So I had to drive into town. I live like 35 miles-ish outside of San Antonio, southeast of San Antonio, and so Texas. And so I had to go into town on the northeast side to go get that. But then I had to drive all the way over to the Audie Murphy VA Medical Center to go get an x-ray on my back because I've been retired from the Air Force for 20 plus years and I have VA disability, but I've never been in their medical system. So I'm inserting myself into that system. And it was like old home week walking in there. I was like, oh yeah, this reminds me of the military for sure. So anyway, so I went all the way over to there and that, you guys, it's an hour drive for me to get from here to the medical center. And it's all highway. It's still an hour. And then get home. I was gone for about 4 hours yesterday on the road, driving through San Antonio traffic. And you got to go during like from 10 to 2, because if you do it closer to the end of the day, it's bad. So, all right. We didn't come here to talk about that. All righty. Quilt Wench is doing everything she can to say hello to everybody. She's so busy. All right. Yesterday, I did go ahead and I told you guys I was going to continue to work on Autumn Love. Wait a minute. I didn't, that's the sample that I don't have that I thought I was going to show you guys, and I had it over here on purpose. So if you're brand new, hi, welcome. On Autumn Love, which is an embroidery quilt we were doing from Lori Holt for Riley Blake, I made 5 blocks of the wrong background fabric, okay? So this is the wrong fabric. And then I told you guys yesterday I was going to go ahead and keep doing it. And so I did this guy on Sunday, and I showed you that yesterday. And then yesterday afternoon when I got back, I did this one. So there's the wrong on the wrong background fabric, and there's the correct. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, just cutting a square of fabric and putting it over the top. I did have to change out my needle. I'm using a 9014 needle. I had to change that out because I started to have a lot of thread shred. And then I also, when I was making this one, I had to slow the machine down to like 600 stitches per minute. And even though, I don't know, even though I did a needle change, I still needed to drop it down to about 500. What is the background quilting for the behind the autumn word? You can use whatever you want. You can use whatever you want. I mean, you know, because I don't remember. I got it from Designs by Juju. In my videos where you see a thumbnail, and this is from like back July, August, September timeframe, if you go back into those and you see Autumn Love thumbnail that we're going to work on, any one of those, to go into the description box below the video where it says more, ... tap that, it opens up, and I tell you which background quilting I was using for each section of that quilt, okay? But I don't remember, y'all, and I don't have it listed anymore because we've moved on past that. So what is, oh, it's thread shred. Day name, it's thread shred. It is the bane of an embroiderer's existence, is thread shred. I got an email from a lady who was telling me she had a baby lock. It wasn't a Venture, but it was another one. And she was getting a lot of thread shred and didn't understand why. And she'd had it for years and it was never a problem. And now it's a problem. And she would blah, 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 blah. So she was using Schmetz needles. And I told her, I said, you might want to switch to organ because Brother and Baby Locked are timed at the factory with organ needles. So she was like, I didn't know that. And my dealer has a big Schmetz display right when you walk in the store. Well, yeah, that's because their checker distributor got to them and had them buy all those needles and put them up. But with Brother and Baby Lock, if you are experiencing thread shred, there's a couple of different reasons, but I stopped having those problems when I switched to the 3 kinds of thread that my machine, like all my machines, and they're all Brother, are Exquisite by Dime, now by OESD, Glide, and Isacord. Those machines, it loves those. Anything else, we've got issues. And then organ needles. And those, I seem to have 0 problems with that. So, okay. Same here for Pfaff. Newligan says Schmetz. That doesn't like Schmetz either. Nothing against Schmetz needles. I have a ton of them. I used them for years when I was in my garment sewing. Totally different. When you're doing embroidery, organ EBBR, that means embroidery, and they've got some codes and whatnot. And then people ask me, do I use ballpoint? I only use that on a knit. Do I use the sharp or the all-purpose? And the all-purpose is fine. Okay. So anyway, all right. So yesterday I was telling y'all how this is for the, quickly. Create room furniture. It arrived late last week. Guy showed up with the Old Dominion big old thing in my driveway and hauled it up here and put a big pallet right underneath my carport. So I bought this from, name of the quilt store, High Country Quilts in Colorado Springs. They were at the Houston Quilt Festival and had this set up. And I really wanted something that's got all those bins and things and stuff so I can see everything. Well, my husband had shoulder surgery last Thursday and he's not allowed to move it, right? And he's like, that needs to get out of my driveway. So my friend Dana, who I made, her husband passed last year, this November 15th last year. She's the one I made the Harley Davidson t-shirt quilt for. So she had to sell her old house because it was way too much for her to manage all by herself. And she's got this new house and she needed to get a lot of work done on it that normally you'd want a man for, right? So she had like these 5 TVs that needed to be hung in the house. And so I went over there and and I was like, how'd you get those TVs up? And she said, I used Thumbtack. And Thumbtack is an app. And she said, yeah, I just went on Thumbtack and I put in there what I needed to have done. And then I put pictures of what I had. And then I went out and it looked for 3 contractors that would do this, right? That were willing to do it. And then the contractor contacts you, you guys work out a price, and then you set up a day and time for whatever. So I was like, okay. So I told Keith about it. And I said, well, what if I go on Thumbtack and I look for somebody to help me put together this furniture? And so he said, well, okay, that's fine, right? So I did. I installed the app on my phone and I said, assemble IKEA-like furniture. And I put it out there and I got it within 5 minutes. Highline Cabinets reached out to me, this company, Highline Cabinets, and said, we could do that. And we're going to come out for $250 and we'll put that together. I'm just going to charge you my day rate to come put it together. And I was like, perfect. He'll be here at 10:45 this morning. How nice is that? So yeah, you worried about sending info to strange people, Sophie's. I understand that, but this is a company, right? And my husband's going to be here. But so many of us older quilters, whatever, we're on our own, right? A lot of us are on our own. Husband just passed, whatever, you need something done. My son's in Colorado Springs. He's like, Mom, we can come down, but I can't get there until the first weekend of December. And my husband was like, get that out of my carport. So that was the option. I was trying to, get a guy I know down the road. And he's like, well, I'm busy and I got stuff going on and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if you don't want to do it, tell me you don't want to do it. Don't just ghost me, right? So I went out on Thumbtack and it just worked amazing. It really did. I was very happy with it. We'll see if he's a loser when he gets here. I think he's bringing a guy with him. I don't know. But yeah, it looks like this. It has the T that looks like a thumbtack there. Looks like a Tennessee Titans thing without the flames, right? So I just tap it and it comes up and it says Thumbtack. And it says, what do you need help with? And so if you need help installing a new faucet for your sink, you just say, I need help installing a faucet for my sink. And it'll go out and it'll go to plumbers or whatever. So simple. Says, next time, just call me. Your husband's a retired engineer. You know what? He might overthink it. I need a blue collar guy. Yeah. So anyway, yes, if you got, and good to know for your parents. That's right, Kelly. So if you guys, that was so helpful to me that my friend Dana, she said she goes on Thumbtack or Angie's List. I don't know how Angie's List works. I've never used them, but Thumbtack, I thought, well, okay, we'll give it a shot. I've seen a commercial about it on TV and so far so good. So that was nice. And then he was like, where do you live? And I gave him my address. He goes, what time can you be here? And he says, let me map it out. And he says, I can be there at 10:30. And I was like, well, I got a doctor's appointment at 10. Can you make it 10:45? He said, no problem. I'll see you then. So that's cool. So we'll see. Yeah. She has experience with engineers. Yes, I know, Wendy. Wendy says, my husband heard what you said. She has experience with engineers. Yeah, they way overthink it. No. I need a blue collar guy. Absolutely. I don't need this over-engineered. Hilarious. Where's my coffee? Yeah, so I'm excited to be getting that done. But she used them. Dana used Thumbtack for many things. She had a cabinet that needed to be put together that she had gotten at IKEA, a desk thing for her in her office area, all that. So really nice. So if your parents need somebody and you're not close, right? Because people don't. It's hard. My son's always, a guy from the church does this and a guy from the church does that and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's great. He's around those people every week. I'm not. Okay. Well, you got to trust strangers sometimes. I think there's good people in the world. I think most people are good. Besides, I'm armed. So it's okay. I live in Texas. I'm fine. All right, y'all. So today I wanted to show you how you can not have to have loads of stabilizer behind all of your embroidered pieces in a continuous border. So it can be about reducing the amount of stabilizer you use. This could be about reducing bulk in an embroidered project, just not to have stabilizer behind it at all, behind your project piece at all. But you need to make sure that, it's hooped, right? Okay. Finding an odd jobs man is hard. Yes, it is. It is. It definitely is. Yeah. Okay. Maureen, what are you talking about? Full list of background quilting. What are you talking about? Okay. So how I do this is I'm doing the background quilting for the outer border, and this is for Enchanted Winter. It was a great response, Scotty Dog. Oh, about you have to trust people? Yeah, it's fine. Okay. See, Marnie's right. She says she's lucky she has a handyman since her husband passed. Yeah, I mean, if you can find somebody, that's wonderful. I live, like I said, I'm 35 miles away from San Antonio. I don't know where this guy's coming from. Around me here, there's still a lot of people that are working or worthless, All right, so I've got to get the outer borders done for this. Now, the way you do this, I'm gonna hang this over here. And if you do this and you use sew tights, this is just a note to self, don't toss your stabilizer without removing the magnetic backings first. I just did that this morning. I was like, did I remove those backings from that stabilizer? I wasn't sure because I got a pile of magnets and backings over here. And I went digging in my bin. Sure enough, there they were. So be sure not to toss your magnet backings if you choose to do that. Okay. Idlewife, that's important. Hold on, right here. Okay. To join those kinds of groups, the contractors have to be vetted. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Excellent. Her husband was going to join Angie's List in New Jersey and he had to be vetted. Yeah, because that can ruin a company, right? That can certainly ruin a company. Well, now this is a perfect reason. Cutie's mom, his handyman's number he passed away and you forgot to get the number. So now you can go on an app like Thumbtack and they will find handyman in your area. Y'all, I'm very pleased with the app so far. And then as you go through it, it says, do you have pictures of your stuff you need? And I said, yeah. So I sent them a picture of this so they know what they're getting themselves into because this is a job. My friend Dana said I was going to come help you until I saw that. And then I also sent them a picture of, hold on, let me go back to my photos. And I sent them a picture of this pallet of stuff sitting in my driveway. See, that's a lot. Now, a lot of it's plastic bins. That's fine. But this guy's a cabinet dude. I don't think he's going to have any trouble getting those doors level. You know what I mean? Okay. So let's go back to this. So the first thing you need when you're going to do this kind of floating is a super heavyweight. Is this tearaway or cutaway? Oh, it's tearaway. That's no good. You need a super heavyweight cutaway stabilizer, like the stuff that they put behind sports jerseys. Okay. And what did I do with that roll? Here it is right here. So this is a heavyweight. I mean, I can't tear it. This is a heavyweight cutaway. All right. So what I've got to do, yeah, all y'all are so helpful, but you don't live by me, and I appreciate that. Okay. So I've got to get a piece of stabilizer that's big enough. So I just take my outer biggest part of the hoop, whatever that is. This doesn't go here. Okay, and I make sure I got a little bit on the outside. All right, and just cut it. This is the standard 9x14 hoop for the Brother 10 needle, is what this says. So I'm going to make sure it's nice and loose here so that I can get my hoop down in there. All right. Just kind of encourage it so it knows where I want it to go. And put this down in. Okay, that's good. And then I need to tighten up those thumb screws just a little bit. I don't know where my little screw stick went for these. Okay. This is how I do it. There may be another better way if you've seen it done in a dealership or something like that. But this is a hack, y'all. So you may not have seen it done in a dealership. All right, so this is recessed in, so everything is nice and flat and tight right here, okay? So I'm going to take my fabric, and I want to center it here on the hoop. Now, you can get all fancy. I'll show you how easy way to find center on these. What is to use, this is a great little tool, and I used to use it all the time. But when you've got this is a dime hoop mat. This is the original color in blue. It's silicone. Very cool. So this is the original color in blue. They make them in pink now. And this line here is so dark, you can see it through even this heavyweight cutaway. So I can see center. I don't know if you can, but I can. Let me see if I can pick this up and point it toward. If you can you guys see center? You can. Okay, so now I can see the crosshair, right? All right. So how you figure out what you're doing, on the sides, I have pieces of tape that I put on here, and I marked the edge of the fabric with pencil after I did this, okay? So you're going to take your piece of fabric. This is cut to 4.5, as the pattern says. And the embroidery stitching is 4, okay? So I'm going to fold this in half to find center. Oh, I'm doing the wrong end. Because the embroidery stitching is going to go from left to right, okay? So I'm going to fold it in half to find center, like this. I can't see y'all's comments, just FYI. And I'm going to put the fold on the crosshair. This is a wag, essentially, is what I'm doing here. I'm going to put the fold on the crosshair, all right? This is how you can do it if you don't have an outer stitch line. This is old school centering. Old school. There. So now my fabric is centered. And then with the tape on here, I put my pencil marks at the edge of the fabric. So I can know on this end, once I get it started and I got to rehoop, I know it's not going like this or like this, but this is just going to give me a pretty good right there. Okay. Now what I am doing, now you would take a pencil, okay, and you would draw a line right here and right here to get where you want. Okay, I'm going to take this marker. I don't have a ruler on this side, but you would take it and you would just draw right down the edge. This, if it gets on the fabric, not a big deal. It's going to be in the seam allowance. Okay, not a big deal. Plus, it's Crayola magic marker, so it washes off. So you can draw here, all right? And then you can use a ruler. I don't have one in my hand. And you can just draw I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches there, maybe 1 inch, like this. Old school. This is the way we did it before we had all these fancy tools. So for those of you that have old machines that don't, or a machine that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, there we go. We're going to pretend that this is straight. So there is my hole. That's how you figure out how to create your hole. Okay. If you don't have a design that has got this 4.5 inch border in it already, my design does, because it is a Kimberbell background quilting. Okay. Y'all are talking about that, being in that situation where hubby passed and now you struggle with things that need done. Use those apps, you guys. Okay. I know. When I did that yesterday, I'm going to turn y'all around. Hold on. When I did that yesterday, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I bet you a lot of people in my world could use that help. This camera, I got to switch cameras on y'all or you're going to get really sick. Hold on. I got to turn this around. This is not wanting to do it right. And I don't want to spin you. Okay. And this is good. And we're going to go wider. There we go. Okay. Now let's go back to 2 here. Okay. All righty. So we're here. I'm going to pull up that design. And I don't need a drop of oil in it because I'm going to tell it, okay to recall and resume previous memory. I'm going to tell it cancel. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create the hole. If you're doing a Kimberbell design, okay, there is a stitch in my design that is 4.5 inches wide. That is the fabric placement and batting tack down. Okay. Batting placement and tack down is 4.5. Fabric placement and tack down is 4. Okay. And then there's the background quilting in that. I want one of those tack down lines I want the larger one to stitch here. Okay. So that's what I'm fixing to do. And I'm going to go into the design and I'm going to find just that stitch. And then I'm going to pull the hoop, and I've got to do it in two separate design instances, if you will, because I'm on a multi-needle. If you're on a single needle, you can just stitch that. But with a multi-needle, I have to tell it, don't stitch, do stitch, don't, right? On a single needle, you just navigate to the bigger one and just stitch that one stitch. It's much easier, okay? All right. So that's why I'm doing that. It's just the difference on how the machine thinks. So let me put this in here. All right. You guys, it's kind of at an angle. Let me see if I can get you. I'm hung up on a cord. Let's get in a little closer. Yeah, I worked with engineers, computer engineers. Oh my gosh, the way they think. Okay. So this is on my USB and it is Enchanted Winter and background quilting. I love them to death, but goodness sake, sometimes you feel like you're not sure who you're talking to. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down here until I want to find the 4x14. This is the largest one, 4x14. The pattern combination is too large for the extra large frame. We need to turn it. Okay, turn it 90. And it comes in upside down. I don't know why. I'm going to tell it set. I'm going to go to rotate. And I tell it 90, but it's going to flip it 180 because it knows that 90 doesn't work. And I'm going to tell it okay. I'm going to tell it edit end. Now I've got my 3 spools I need to assign what to do with. This is the smaller. This first one, I've got a preview right here. This is all the color stops. Where's my fancy? I had a fancy pointer, so you didn't have to look at my gross, ugly fingernails. Let me see here. Where is that? Hold on. I'll get my stylus for my scan and cut. Okay. So these right here are the color stops in the design. So batting placement, batting tack down, fabric placement, fabric tack down, and design, background quilting. This is a preview, 1 through 5. That's what color stop we're on, is number 1. And then these correspond to the needles, the spools on the back of the machine. They're all numbered. And then we have a stop, do not stitch, and okay. All right. So this, I don't want it to stitch that. That's the smaller one. So I'm going to tap the do not stitch. And this is the tack down, do not stitch. That is the larger. I'm going to tell it, I want that to stitch, and I want it to stitch on spool number 1. So my 3 changed to a 1 because it's the same color as the fabric. I don't want to stitch that, and I don't want to stitch the background quilting. And I'm going to tell it okay. There we go. So now it's only going to stitch that one thing. I'm going to go to embroidery. Okay. Got you there. And we're in and lock and go. So now it's just going to stitch using spool number 1. Okay. Oh yeah, day name, you want a multi-needle, you sure do. If I didn't have single needle users, I probably wouldn't even use it. Hey, I was pretty straight on my horizontals. The vertical, I was just guessing. But I was pretty straight on my horizontals drawing my line. Oh, so old school works, you guys. All right. So look at that. See how well old school works? My horizontals, this is where I found center on that blue mat, okay? I was PDC, as Colleen says, pretty darn close. Okay, there you go. From Amelia Scott Designs. All right. So now what I need to do is cut out this hole right here. Before I do that, I want to tape. I can see where the edge of the plastic on the hoop is right here and where the stitching is. Before I cut this, I'm going to put my magnetic backing from my sew tights. If you guys want to get sew tights, I love these. I have a link below to them in my discount section, and you can get 10% off with my code. Okay. So I'm just going to put that outside of the stitching so we don't have any drama. And I'm taping it on here so that it cannot come loose and shift around while the hoop is moving. Okay. PDC, pretty darn close. Yeah. I've watched many of her videos. She's the one who got me interested in background quilting with those Amelia Scott Designs back in the day when I had my PE 770 and I didn't know that they didn't work on a 5x7. Back then they didn't. I don't know if they do now or not. Okay, so now I have a magnetic backing taped securely. Now, why didn't I put one over here? Because this is metal. This bar back here and the needle plate are metal. And if this is sliding around on it, okay, that will get hung up and it can, you don't want to do that. Nowhere near metal. So as this arm is going back and forth, so remember I chose the 4x14. What I'm going to stitch is the 4x12. So it's only going to stitch from here to here. I've got all this wiggle room on the ends, and that's what I want because I've got to scan it and make sure I can see the last pass and make sure this is going to fit. Okay. So now that this is done and I have my magnets on, I want to cut out the hole. Okay. So let's turn around. Hold on here, y'all. Okay. And before you get crazy with your rotary cutter, hold on. Why won't this stay still? It drives me crazy. It won't. It wants to turn. Ugh. Before you get crazy with a rotary cutter, put your mat away. You don't have to have the mat. You can use a large piece of paper with a super dark Sharpie. Where's my rotary cutter? Where did that? Oh, I had it here on this table because I cut this. There it is. It's hiding. Okay. And then you can use a ruler or you can freehand this, okay, and just cut your space. I don't want that heavyweight cutaway in my project. People have been doing this for years to save stabilizer, you guys, because stabilizer back in the day was pretty expensive, okay? And the dealers don't want you to know this hack. The people that make stabilizer don't want you to know this hack. So now look, I can repeatedly use the stabilizer over and over because the stabilizer's hooped. All right, so my design is 4x4 and it's going to go right in here, okay? So now I need a piece of batting. Get my KIMBERBELL batting. We're going to open that up. It's taped. I taped it back or something. Yeah, there we go. Last time I used it. Okay. Now the KIMBERBELL batting is nice and thin, okay? It's very thin. It doesn't have those little bumps and all that on it, right? So I just need a piece. See how that's going to work? It's the right length, okay? So you can stretch it all out and cut a big long strip, or you can end to end it, and which is what I'm going to do, and then just put a piece of tape. Let me get my ruler. So if the hole is 4.5, I want my batting piece to be 5.5. So I've got a little bit of extra batting around the outside. So I'm going to put a 5.5-inch piece like this. And I'm cutting it short because some of you are going to have to piece your batting. And you just piece it. You want to cut with a straight. Okay, so when you piece it, it's the same. It'll marry up real clean to its partner. Okay. All right, this looks good. So I'm good because it's not super thick. It's going to have a nice clean, it's going to move cleanly. You're not going to get fibers hung up down in your needle plate. So I'm going to take this and just put it right here. I'm just eyeballing it, getting it center. Okay. And now I'm going to put this in here. And I've got plenty of fabric. Now I'm using the aqua colored Sew Tights because they're not as strong as the blue ones, the heavy duty. So I can feel the edge of the hole, and that's where I want the edge of the fabric. Okay, that's right. There. That's right on. And then again, I've got that mark I made on the tape. Okay. I can feel the edge of the plastic. I can feel the edge of the hole. All right. So that's going to hold nice and taut. See that? How cool is that? And we're ready to go and stitch. Okay. Very cool. All right. Now you're going to use this exact same process if you are doing a single needle. Exact same process. I did this on a single needle many, many times before I did it on the multi. So let me put this in here. Now I'm doing a separate design size, right? So I've got to start all over. Doing the 12, and that's to give me wiggle room. So I'm going to go to home, Okay to delete current? Yes. Remember, I did the 4x14 to find the hole, okay? And now I'm going to come here and Enchanted Winter, background quilting, and border 1. And now I want the 4x12. And that is right. That's 3x12, 4x12, right there. It's too large. Okay. It's set. I'm going to turn it around, rotate 90. It goes 180. Okay. Edit end. Now I need to set my colors. Okay. I don't want any outside border stitching at all. None. Because if you do the outside border stitching, okay, you're going to get the end stitches here on the ends of the pattern down here on the fabric. I don't want that because I want it to look continuous. So I'm going to go here. Here's my preview again. I'm going to tell it, do not stitch, do not, do not, do not. And on this one, I wanted to use, which is just the quilting, I wanted to use spool number 7 and tell it okay. And we're ready. Now, on these fancy machines, we have a camera button. I'm going to touch that and it's going to move. I'm going to tell it okay. So now it's taking a picture. The camera is right under here. It's taking a picture of what it sees. Well, Becky, I don't have a camera. I don't have that fancy thing like you do. What do I do now? I don't have a fancy camera. Okay, so what you do if you don't have a fancy camera is you do a print out of Embrilliance. And if you don't have Embrilliance and you don't want to pay for it, you can go and get Embrilliance Express. But if you're going to get Embrilliance, the essentials right now is like $139 and there's a 10% off coupon. So that's a deal. But what you do, this is on 2 pages. Okay, you just trim off one little end and you get this together so it fits right. And then you tape these 2 pages together and then you cut it. And there's a crosshair in the center if you tell it to print the crosshairs, which I didn't. And then you can find center using that black mat. So you know exactly where this is going to fit. Okay. That's, again, old school method of figuring out where stuff's going to go. Hold on. I'm going to trim this up so you can see what I'm talking about. Because you'll be like, I'm a visual person. I don't know what you're talking about. I got to see it. Okay. So we're going to pretend this 1 page is the whole 9 yards, right? Okay. So it's got crosshairs. Fold it in half. Even if it doesn't have crosshairs, fold it in half. Okay. And fold it in half. This is how you find center. And I'm doing a horrible job of this. A real hash of it, as you folks across the pond say. Okay. And on that mat, you mark center, right? You put a sticker or you mark center with a marker because you can, right? Okay. You guys know how to do that, right? You know how to find center like that? Okay. All right. So, for those of you that do have a camera, this is what we see. I know you've got a little glare. I'm sorry. This is what I see. See the little lines on there? Can you do the no stitch on the Solaris directly on the machine screen? Yes, you do it in the edit. Before you hit the embroidery, you've got to do it in edit, Betsy. So I'm looking here and I can see the bottom edge. Everything looks great. Looks pretty centered. Maybe need to move it up just a tiny bit. And it's fine. I'm going to move it over as far as it'll go. On this screen, before you jump into the embroidery mode, you've got toggle buttons to move the design around on the screen. And when you do this, it's going to move the hoop as well. You got move a teeny tiny bit, move a little bit, and move a lot. So if I hit the move a lot, it's going to move. Look at that. That's how you, all the way over there. Okay, perfect. Now, I know, I'm going to touch embroidery. All right, now I know that metal magnet is not going to get hit because it's outside of the 4 by 14, and my design is the 4 by 12. Okay, so I'm ready to go. And it's going to do its thing. Okay, we're going to start stitching here. Why no stabilizer? All right, I'm going to turn this around. Because sometimes we don't want stabilizer behind our stuff. So let me show you how to find. This thing wants to turn back. I've yet to figure out that on all of these. All right. So how do you find center on your fabric? I need another piece of fabric. Okay. Well, you're going to waste a lot of stabilizer on a continuous design, a lot of stabilizer. Okay. Let's see here. Let me grab a scrap here. Well, you're going to use it with batting and all that, y'all. I've got my marks on my inner hoop. Straight. When you do continuous borders, you waste a lot of stabilizer. You put this on center, right there. So you can use a, right there, you can use a Target sticker. This is a dime Target sticker. You can use a garage sale dot, whatever you want for prices, okay? There's center. There's center. I'm going to put that right there. And now you know where center start is on your fabric, okay? And I just like the mat because if you give it any pressure at all, your hoop won't slide around, which is very nice. Very nice. I think these are on sale. Dime's having a big sale. I've got a link to it below in the description box. Okay. We're going back around. Hold on. It's going backwards now. I'm going to show you how to flip that, how to do the next pass. All right, so the first pass is done. I am cutting out another 5.5-inch strip of batting. Okay, very quickly here. Now, to get the where to sew, this is, I just sew 1/4 of an inch in from the edge of the fabric. Tell it okay. All right. Pop this out. If I can figure, where's it at? There we go. Okay. So now here's the extra fabric. All right. I'm going to remove both of my sew tights, just the tops, because the bottoms are taped. Okay. So look, it just comes right up. Now I need to be able to see this print right here. I need to see the edge of that print. So I'm going to move it in, and it would actually, if I was to start the pattern, it would be in the way. But because I'm using a much larger hoop, I've got the wiggle room for that. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to marry up these two edges right here. Okay. And I'm just going to take a piece of that Kimberbell paper tape. Okay. The batting acts like a stabilizer, like Hoop Sisters Battleizer. Yeah, a lot like that. A lot like that. But this is Kimberbell's. Okay. This is a little thinner than Battleizer, but look at the back. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Okay. All right. So now again, I need to feel and make sure that the edge of the fabric is right near the edge of that cutaway stabilizer. And you want to use that heavyweight so that you can feel the edge of it. If you've got a no-show mesh, it's not sturdy enough. So I'm going to make sure that this is right where it needs to go. Both edges, okay? And I'm going to take my sew tights. I'm going to put it. I can see the edge of the plastic, and the base of the magnet is centered. This is good. So there. See how easy that is? Easy peasy stuff. All right, we're ready to go again. Now, if you are using this method, the paper method, you're going to take your paper and you're going to put it right here. You're on your single needle and you're going to get it straight. All right. And wherever your, hold on here. Where's my sticker? Okay. So I can see the tree is, this is where I want it. This is where I want it to start. I want this to look continuous. And I look at the distance between like patterns over here and make sure it's kind of the same. Okay. So it's not too far away. I'm going to fold this back and I can see where the fold is. And I'm going to take this sticker, or you can draw a line, whatever you want, and put that right there. And now I know where to start needle center on my single needle. Or if I don't have if I have a machine that does not have a camera, okay? Let's see how good that was. We'll do that here in a second. Let me get this back in. I got stabilizer in the way here, y'all. Kind of want that to go under the clip there. And this, I want this to be under there. Okay, so it holds on nice and sturdy. And my fabric's not going anywhere because I've got magnets on it. Okay, now if you are using a camera, you can set it up like that if you want. But you paid big money for this. So we're gonna use the camera again and scan it. So it just was able to see the stitching right over here when it looked at that far edge. All right. I was way off on my yellow sticker because I was wagging it there. So here's the crosshair. I am looking for the stitching from the previous pass. I want you guys to be able to see it too, and I don't know if you can. Let me get you in real close. I can see the edge of a tree right over here. So I'm going to move this way. Might have been pretty close. There's a snowflake. Moving this way over because I've got all that room because I'm doing the 12. Okay. Look at, yeah, pretty close. Okay. Let me get that sticker out of the way. All right. Now that I've got my distance left and right checked out, now top and bottom. Maybe I can come down just a little bit. This is why you want cameras. I love it. A little bit more over. Okay, looks good. Okay, there it goes. You know, people ask me all the time, what kind of embroidery machine should I get? Get the most machine that you can afford, okay? I highly recommend, and there's a technician nearby. That's great advice from Jenny Doan. But there are features on embroidery machines that you might not know what's available out there. Now, if you have a budget, you tell the dealer, how much machine can I get for the money? If you can get a machine with a camera or camera-like the Brother Stellaire, where it works with an app on your phone and you can take a picture, but the precision is very close as well. Okay. Yeah, Marnie, when you use wash away, you can cut holes in it and create a patch design. Yeah, that's cool too. So that's what you do, is you get the most machine you can afford. And if your dealer is offering something like 0% financing with Synchrony, y'all, that's free money over 5 years. Space it out. Get as much out of you as you can out of your dealer. Now, for you to take 0% financing, it costs the dealer 20%. That's a lot of money on a $10,000 machine, right? So they raise the price of the machine a little bit higher. They'll give you less of a deal if you're doing 0% than if you're going to pay cash or put it on a credit card. But if you're putting it on a credit card, you're going to pay a percent in interest. So this is what my mind goes through when I'm thinking about financing a machine. Uh-oh. What's the matter? It says thread 7 has got an issue, but I can tell it doesn't. So I suspect the issue is my bobbin. So I'm going to touch lock and cut. It looks like I ran out of bobbin. You don't have a bobbin sensor on these like you do the flatbeds. And that was the problem. Okay. My watch is telling me our hour is up, but I'm going to show you how I fix this because it's not a big deal. Because this happens to everybody. Okay, I just got a new bobbin. Now I use the Filtech magnetic bobbins. These are wound precisely, and your machine is too expensive to doink around with making your own bobbins, okay? So this is a highly engineered machine, and so you want bobbins that look exactly like this, and it has a little, I mean, you can make your own. I'm not saying, but a box of these, I don't know how many are in here, a load of them, 100, are, yeah, there's 100 of them. They're like $50. They're not inexpensive, but neither is this machine. Okay, so let me put the bobbin back in. And I need to go back. Now, on this machine, unlike a flatbed, when the bobbin runs out, the bobbin runs out. There's nothing for it. Okay, so it's not got a couple of stitches, 20, 30 stitches you need to back up, but you can. Okay, I'm going to get my little tail off the top there. Okay, and so just like on a flatbed, we go to the needle plus minus. I'm going to go 10, 20. I think that's plenty. Go 30. Okay, that'll work. Tell it okay. Lock and start. And there we go. And we're off to the races again. 30 stitches was perfect. That's it. Awesome. There you go. So, well, Debbie, you're welcome for the great lesson. Thank you so much for that compliment. I appreciate it. You guys, I wanted to do this today on the multi-needle because Carol, the lady who won our Friday giveaway last week, she's got a multi-needle and she's not comfortable with it. And she wants to be able to be real comfortable. And so these are things that you can go through to play with. And when you're learning your multi-needle, watch a video like this and pause it and then do, and watch, pause, do, and that kind of thing. So, all right, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Please give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you're watching on your TV, grab that TV remote and hit the channel up button. And I hope you get some time in your sewing room today. All right, please subscribe. We do this a lot. You get a lot of free content and free lessons and things like that. So, will the Sew Tights work on a luminaire? As long as that magnet will not pass over the needle plate. You can't have the magnet passing over the needle plate. Can't do it because it'll want to grip it and cause problems. Okay. All right, y'all. I love you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Y'all go say something. Bye.